Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura. And my son works in an office where they would have what I would call a community dog, because everyone in this office takes care of this dog. And they have named him 3PO, very similar to C-3PO. I wonder if there's a connection. After all, they are big Star Wars fans. But I have noticed that 3PO does not have a wardrobe. And I'm going to remedy that by making him some bandanas that he can wear in the office. Now, when you make animals bandanas that go around their neck, there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind. Number one, the fabric that you choose has to be washable. The other thing, it should be very lightweight because it will be too heavy around them, and it's harder to tie if it's a heavier weight. So I find a good cotton is really one of the best choices to make these bandanas for your dog. Now, you need to have different sizes depending on the animal that you are going to fit. If you have a very small dog, you will start with a 14-inch square. Medium-sized dog, 18 inches. A large dog, 22 inches. And if you have a very large dog, you will need to start with a 26-inch square. Now, they have a medium-sized dog, so I will be starting with an 18-inch square. And I am going to make 3PO 3 bandanas to start off with. Now, to make these, you are going to start with a perfect square, either the 14th, 18, 22, or 26-inch square. Then from there, you're going to be folding them in half to sew them. And why it's really good to have a fabric that is lightweight, like cotton, is because when it's on the bias, it's going to have some stretch to it. So it's going to fit nice around the neck and it won't feel tight or choke them. So it's very good that when you do have that part that goes around the neck, it is on the bias, so it does have the stretch. So let's get to the machine and set this up to start sewing. I would recommend a 1/4 inch seam allowance. After all, that means there's not so much weight inside the seam, so it remains light for the dog to wear. The other thing, you should do a back stitch when you stop and you start, because this is going to take a lot of abuse, so you want that stitch anchored really well. So let's take a close-up look on what a back stitch looks like. Watch the needle. You will see that it's going to go forward a couple of stitches, then it's going to go backwards over top of those stitches and then forward again to continue the line of stitching. It's going forward. Now it's going over top of the stitches it already made, and then it's just going to continue to sew the line until you stop. A lot of machines have a feature that does that on its own. If not, you can use the reverse button to go forward, push the reverse button so that it goes back, let go of the reverse button so that it comes forward, and you would end it the same way. So we have here the square. We're going to take it and you're going to fold it from corner to corner, and that is going to give you a triangle. Now what you need to do is sew now on these two sides, but you will need to leave an opening so that you can put your hand in and turn it right sides out. And we're going to start with the back stitch. And we're going to be able to sew all the way. So when we get to the corner, you're going to stitch up to a 1/4 inch, leave the needle in, raise the foot, and then turn the fabric. And now you're going to continue to stitch down this edge. Now I've come to the area where I want to leave a little bit of an opening, just enough that I can get my hand in so that I can turn it around. Move your fabric a couple of inches, put your foot down, put your needle down, and you're going to do another back stitch all the way to the corner. And in the corner, you will finish off with a back stitch. The next thing we're going to do is we have to trim off the corners, and that is going to give you a nice point of the corners. So whenever you have this corner stitching, when you turn it right sides, you have all of this area trying to get into this tiny little area. So you want to take out some of that fabric. You will need to snip right where that corner stitching comes to. Do not cut the stitching line, but just come right to the stitching corner. And you will need to do the same thing for this corner. Let's get our hand in and turn it right side out. Now when you get to the corner, you're going to be able to just push it out. But you will notice that, well, your finger is too fat, and it doesn't matter whose finger it is, to get that to be a nice point. Now, I would not recommend pointing it with a pair of scissors because you can stab through the fabric. Now, there are a lot of different tools that you can use that are on the market to do just that. This is a point turner here, and you can get a wooden one. And with that point, you're able to put it inside the fabric and push all of that fabric out to the point. So we've turned this all right sides. Now we need to close off this little opening. Take it to the iron and just press the seam allowances in the 1/4 inch. And the stitch needs to go very, very close to the very edge so that it catches it all in. And that's the first thing you need to do, is sew that opening closed. The next thing is you need to do a row of stitching along the edge of the stitching line, not the fold part. You do not want to stitch over the fold part because you want that to stretch. So you can see my first row of stitching is very close to this edge to seal it. And the next row is a 1/4 inch all the way around. Now let's get the other two made. So there we have it, 3 quick, easy bandanas for your pet. Now the great thing with this, very washable. The extra stitching will keep them good and strong so that they will be able to have wear and tear. Just remember, do not stitch along this folded edge because you want that to stretch. The other thing is, if you find that this peak is too low on your dog, then you just need to roll the top before you tie it. And that will adjust the size of that peak there so you can adjust how long you want it. And you're able to tie it around their neck and, well, it's done. Now there's so many great fabrics out there. You'll be very tempted to maybe make 365, one for every day of the year. So I'm going to get these in the mail, and I'm going to mail them to the office, and I'm going to address them to 3PO. And won't they be surprised when he gets mail? Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back and let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.